trying to guess the winner of a USAR Hooters Pro Cup race has become almost as difficult as picking winning lottery numbers. 5 different drivers have taken the checkers in the last 5 races, including former Pro Cup champion Jeff Agnew, and the only 2-time winner in the last 7 races, Hal Goodson. Even newcomer Lee Tissett visited Victory Lane 2 weeks ago at Hickory. If you can pick the winner, you might want to try your hand at the lottery. Good luck. United Speed Alliance Racing for the new millennium, the Hooters Pro Cup Series 2000. And round 18 is the Jackaroo Sauces 250, presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst, and it brings us to Concord Motorsports Park. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Drebber, and for longer than we can remember, fans here at this place have been holding their breath over the kind of racing that you're going to see here tonight. I'm at the back of the grid because I often feel like this is where some of the best stories are, and one of them is Buggy Pletcher, a former rookie points leader. Buggy, what are you doing back here?
I'm in big trouble back here. I got 10 total laps here today in practice, first time here, and we didn't do real well. So watch out for this 51 because we don't know what's going to happen during this race.
10 laps at Concord Motorsports Park is not exactly a career. A guy that's back here with him has got a little bit more experience at this place, but if it wasn't for bad luck, he probably wouldn't have any luck at all. Marty Lindley, what are you doing back here? Different story.
Yeah, what a day. Brought our primary car here and had a really good practice, and towards the end of the practice, the motor blowed up in it, so we got our backup car out and attempted to qualify, and during our qualifying lap, the motor blowed up in it, so that's 2 motors in one day, you know. So we went to Bobby Gill. I'd really like to thank him. I don't know too many people that bring a brand new race car out and let us drive it, so we're up in the points, and he knows it, and he's leading the points. He just, you know, that's the kind of friend you need to have sometimes.
Sportsmanship par excellence. Not only that, but he didn't give you exactly a bad race car either, I'm gathering. This is the one he finished second in at Tri-County.
Right. We come up here last Friday, me and Bob, and tested, and he really tested well in this car. And, you know, I don't know why he didn't run it. He come back Monday with his other car. Maybe felt like it's a little bit better, but we'll see what we can do. We got to keep the fenders on at night and finish this race and do me a good job and keep his race car out of the pits.
Marty, good luck to you. I think I'm going to be holding my breath. And Bill Venturini, who's a little bit further up in the starting field, hold your breath, buddy, because these guys are coming. Let's go to Bill.
Thanks, Brian. Right now I'm standing with a guy that's really been lighting up the Hooters Pro Cup Series in the last couple weeks. Finished second at Hickory at the last race. He's 10th right now here at Concord Motorsports Park, and this is his home track. 2-time track champion. What do you think, Mike? Hometown advantage?
Well, I hope so. You know, we got a new track surface here, and it's the first time I've raced on it. So, but I really feel like, you know, once we get to racing, it's still another race at Concord Motorsport Park. And, you know, we're just glad that we've got the success behind us, and we know that we can go into this race confident, building up on Hickory the other week to take this win tonight. And I really, you know, I owe it all to Don Sprouse Motorsports, today's Fireplace, and Signs Now for giving me this opportunity. Without those guys, none of this would be possible. So hopefully we can stay out of trouble tonight and just have a good finish.
Well, I'd have to say he's definitely going to be a favorite to win tonight.
Clay Rogers, the Discount Auto Parts Pole Sitter Award winner for tonight. Congratulations. You know, he was the happiest guy I've ever seen when he got second place, and you're that close to your win.
Yeah, this is home racetrack for me, and I haven't raced, well, I raced down here last weekend, but other than that, it's been a full year since last October that I raced here, and October's been kind to me here in the past. Won $65,000 here last year, so if we can keep that string of good October luck up, and, you know, maybe we'll come home with a win.
But, you know, how much has this track changed? How much does your experience count here now?
I think it counts a lot. You know, the new asphalt helps some of us out, and it's just basically the same line. You can get in the corners harder. It's a driver's racetrack. I mean, you can get in the corner as deep as your car can stand to get in the corner, and you can pick up the gas as hard as you can possibly imagine to pick up the gas. It's just throw the dog leg in it, and it's kind of a bad mixture with these big motors and these things. So it'll be an interesting 250-lap race.
Clay Rogers, the Discount Auto Parts pole sitter for this one, won't wear out that left front tire too badly here tonight. Let's take a look at the points. You can see that Bobby Gill has a commanding lead. Marty Lindley has a shot at second. and Brian Vickers is top rookie in 4th.
Yeah, he's jumped from 7th to 4th right now in the point standings.
His lead is over John Wood and Clay Rogers, who are 2nd and 3rd in rookie points. Buggy Pletcher is 4th, starting from the back. And here you can see the breakdown on rookie points. It was a very tight battle. It spread out a little bit, but you know what? John Wood, Clay Rogers, those guys still have a chance too. And earlier today, big bad Bobby Gill signing autographs for a young fan. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky, yet unrefined. By Jackaroo Sauces. Jackaroo tastes so great, they named a steakhouse after us. By Naturally Fresh Dressings. It's not just our name, it's our promise. And by Miller Lite, the great taste of a true Pilsner beer. Welcome back to Concord Motorsports Park for United Speed Alliance Racing Hooters Pro Cup, the Jackaroo Sauces 250, presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst. A look down on the starting grid, and now at the facility here as we get ready to fire them up. Doing the honors tonight will be Danny Helms.
Drivers, start your engine.
And with that, they come to life. Hello, John Curley in the Team Concept 2000 car. John Wood at his Motorcraft number 116. Jason Sarvis with us here, making one of his few appearances for the season. And Mario Goslin still looking for a win here in the year 2000. Our Renegade weatherman, Bill Venturini, another nice night.
Oh, what a perfect night, Brian. You know, it's long sleeve weather, maybe light jacket. They're talking about a cold front coming in, but it won't come in until probably the race is over. It's just perfect. Couldn't ask for a better night.
Renegade Race Trailers bringing us our weather report. We also talked to Mike Herman Jr. about Concord.
I call this a roller coaster racetrack. You know, you're swooping in and out of the corners all night long. It's a real blind racetrack for the drivers. It's good to have a good spotter here that's got a lot of experience at this racetrack. So that'll all play into it tonight, but hopefully we can have a safe race.
This graphic is like almost perfect on what this racetrack looks like. You know, there's no straightaway except down the front straightaway. It's like maybe a couple hundred feet at the most. The rest of this racetrack is all turn, and it's also uphill and downhill. This is the hardest racetrack that these guys race on all year long.
What the heck was that thing out there as the cars are rolling around? Let's take a look at our Jackaroo Sauces starting grid. You met Clay Rogers. Hal Goodson is on the outside. Those two guys are always fast. Neil Browder is very fast here at this racetrack. Bill Clemens Jr. is on the outside of row number 2 in the Hooters car number 15.
Inside row 3, Brian Vickers in the Two Quick Performance Shock Chevrolet. And next to him, Regan Smith in RLS Structures Incorporated Chevrolet.
On row number 4, we start with Martin Esbit in the State Fair brand Corn Dogs entry with Stacy Puryear in the Black's Tire car. Those guys are row number 4 and looking for a good show here tonight. Curtis Davis, another rookie driver, and you met Mike Herman Jr., who's starting 10th. That's the outside of row number 5.
Inside row 6, driving the car number 73, Jeff Agnew in the Twin City Motor Exchange Chevrolet. Next to him, Jay Fogelman in the NX View Technologies Ford.
Shane Huffman goes in the 13 spot in the Johnsonville Bratwurst entry with Chad Mullis, who also has a lot of experience, a new face in Hooters Pro Cup here tonight.
Starting 15th inside row 8, Mario Goslin, who has not had a win, like you said, Brian, yet so far this year. Next to him, John Curley in the Team Concept Ford.
Row 9 is Jason Sarvis, track champion from Myrtle Beach. He goes in the LindenAmic.com Chevrolet along with John Wood in the Motorcraft Quality Parts Ford. Bobby Gill, the points leader, and Lee Tissett, who made winning a Hooters Pro Cup race look awful easy. A 1 win in 3 tries for the 55 car driver.
Inside row 11, the car number 0, Steve Christian in the Lucas Oil Products Chevrolet. And next to him, Derek Kelly, back again in the Discount Auto Parts Chevrolet, new 2000 body style.
Dan Johnson goes in the car number 56 on row number 12 with Philip Cranifus, 2 drivers who we have not yet seen this season. And then on row number 13, it's Jimmy McLean in the familiar number 3 car alongside John Kinder in the 08 DailyDrill.com Chevrolet.
Inside row 14, Sean Studer in the Yoo-Hoo Chocolate Drink Chevrolet. And next to him, Trent Owens in the 1-800-B Petty Pontiac.
Our friend Jabe Jones is back on row number 15 in the Jackaroo Meat Sauces Chevrolet with Keith Woody in the Sandvik Coromant Company Chevy. And then I talked to Marty Lindley, who's all the way in the back there, driving a black 01 here tonight with Buggy Pletcher alongside him. That's row 16. And further back still, Andy Thurman still struggling, looking to recover back to the form that took him to the first win of the season. And Charlie Ford taking a provisional start back there in the 34th position. Those who didn't qualify include Darrell Gwynn in the Miller Lite car, disappointed. Dale Shaw, first of the northern drivers to come down and test out the waters here in the Hooters Pro Cup Series. And Regan Smith comes to a stop on the racetrack. We had an incident on the pace lap. Take a look at this. Watch the left side of the screen.
You can see, look at this, 3 cars stack them up. Bill Plemons Jr. stopped to straighten out his steering wheel. Yeah, you can see Regan Smith here. He's waving to the crowd. He stops right there. Bam, then he gets hit by Stacy Purrier. And then Stacy Purrier gets hit by Mike Herman Jr.
Another look from on board with Mike Herman Jr. Boom, bang, and just barely missing a 5-car pileup. Let's go down to Stephen Cox. Stephen, you punched in early tonight, didn't you?
Well, now we have word that Mike Herman is going to be sent to the back of the field. No word yet on Stacy Purrier. And take a look at the size of the tape these guys have. I mean, we're talking duct tape 8 inches wide here, so they can get the hood of this car nailed down and send Stacy back out as quickly as possible. This is a pretty fast racetrack, and you've got to think that a lot of damage, maybe not a little bit of damage, but some serious damage to the front end of a car on the nose piece could actually slow them down just a little bit. Now we jump back to the Mike Herman car. Remember, Mike Herman picked up this ride in Hickory just a few weeks ago, made a fantastic run all the way into the top 5 with it for most of the night. He's driving Don Sprouse's number 19 car, sponsored by Today's Fireplace. Now, these guys are also working as fast as they can. It doesn't look like either of these cars had any kind of damage to the radiator, which is a real surprise given the impact and the damage you see on the front end. So with any kind of luck, Mike Herman will get back out, and he is going to be sent to the back.
Both of these guys are going to have to go to the back of the pack because they've come down pit road.
So everybody else continues relatively unscathed. We'll try it again in a moment. United Speed Alliance Racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series continues here with the Jackaroo Sauces 250 presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst. And Bill, one more time with feeling. Let's see if we can get this race to the green flag.
Yeah, now these guys are starting in the back because of the wreck. I mean, Mike Herman Jr. is looking out of the back of his car right now off the roof cam.
And we'll also see an onboard shot from Andy Thurman in the Naturally Fresh Mountain Springwater car starting from the back. No coincidence there. He had a poor day in qualifying. But Regan Smith and the RLS Structures, he'll start halfway through the field, so at least we'll see, you know, not quite so many cars in front of Regan. He had a little problem there on the pace lap. And we're going to get it started this time with Jim Tolbert, our honorary starter, while behind him, Rusty Cruz will take over the duties once the race gets underway. And we are underway here at Concord Motorsports Park. And it promises to provide some very exciting racing. Hal Goodson taken off, and only Clay Rogers is with him. These two guys were very close to one another in qualifying times, and Rogers for sure knows this racetrack. But Hal Goodson, one can only imagine what it would have been like if he had run the whole season.
Did you see that? Out of 9 races, he's got 7 top 10s. This guy has been hot.
Hal Goodson, Clay Rogers, and the rest of the field now closing things up a little bit. Neil Browder in the 178 car, the Mark III financial entry, coming up there to join him.
I was just watching this, Brian. You know, they run this racetrack in a little over 16 seconds, between 16 and 17 seconds. They're in the straightaway 2 seconds. That's it. The rest of the time, they're 15 seconds left of the racetrack. They're in a corner. They're turning. They're going up. Look, they come right through the tri-hill. Through the tri-hill, they come downhill. Then they run back uphill down. I guess it's the back straightaway. And then they get into turn 3. This is the hardest racetrack I've ever seen. For a short track, this is unbelievably a hard track to figure out and set your car up for.
Our Discount Auto Parts field summaries, you'll see them throughout the race, and we're looking at the top 10 right now as they are running on the racetrack. Clay Rogers, second at Hickory, 7 top 5 finishes, running in second position right now. Hal Goodson, the leader. You mentioned the top 5 finishes, top 10 finishes. He had 3 poles, 2 wins in 9 races, and 5 top 5s. Not a bad deal for a short season. Mark Nesbitt and Curtis Davis.
Now, this is like his home track also. He's run here in other divisions here, so he kind of knows how to get around this racetrack also. And I think this racetrack, there's two combinations on what you have to do to go fast here. You have to have the experience on this racetrack, and then you have to have the car set up right for it. And don't take me wrong, that's at every racetrack, but this track, it seems to be, you know, a much harder track to get the car figured out and to figure out how to drive it. So if you have any one of those advantages, I think it's going to show in the way you're going to run tonight.
16 slowing in the tri-oval. Clear on the outside in the tri-oval, going to 3.
Gosselin has slowed in the turn, and the spotters are telling him what's going on. Andy Thurman's spotter, Ron Kreitzer, I believe, was the voice that we were hearing there.
Yeah, and look at this. Mario Gosselin is pulling off the racetrack under green. Again, he's not going to be able to have a chance to win tonight.
And Bill, I'm convinced that the Earth will stop spinning on its axis if Mario Gosselin does not win a Hooters Pro Cup race this season. He has 31 top 5 finishes out of 68 races. He has 15 wins. He is career all-time win leader at Hooters Pro Cup, and he has not been able to buy his way into victory lane this year, in spite of having a Chevy, a Ford, back and forth between 2 different cars, and one of the hardest working teams in Hooters Pro Cup. Can't make it happen. Bobby Gill watching him with Lee Tissett, who made winning look awful easy, picking up a win in 3 tries. We talked to Bobby about racing for championship.
Well, I mean, every time we come here, we try to come here to win. And I don't know, the last 3 races, we just ain't hit on nothing right. We pulled a second out of Tri-County, then Hickory. We unloaded off the trailer with the best car ever had in practice and went out and qualified, and the car just run like a turd.
Did he say third?
I don't think so, Brian, but I'm not really going to say what he really meant by that comment.
Bobby Gill running deep in the field early in the race. No cause for alarm just yet, but Stephen Cox now is with Mario Gosselin, who led the points early this season. Stephen?
Well, Mario Gosselin yet again snake bit with just horrible luck so far this year. And guys, this time it is another gear problem. That is another gear problem. And let's see if we can get a quick word with him. Mario, it looked like it may have jumped out of gear, or was it a rear end?
I think we broke a set of gears in the rear end.
Looked like you actually had a really good car out there.
Yeah, Carter Grant, Ormo Grading. Really felt good, biding my time. The guys, we passed a bunch of cars, kind of settled in, and letting the tires come up to pressure. The car really felt good.
It looked like there were some guys going high out there, and I really didn't expect it at all.
Well, I think everybody's a little tighter than they expected they would be. I was a little tighter than I thought we would be, and started going into one a little high, and it held me through the dog leg. I think we'd have been real good on old tires.
Thanks, Mario. Guys upstairs, I'll tell you, have you ever seen such a load of bad luck come down on one team?
Absolutely not. And while we were listening to Mario Gosselin, Clay Rogers has taken the lead, and you can see that reflected in our Discount Auto Parts field summary. 21 laps, we'll make it 20 laps, and we see a little bit of smoke coming out of Mike Herman Jr.'s car.
Well, you know, I could see the right front tires rubbing against the fender, but there's also, it looks like there's smoke coming out of the engine. When they taped up, you can look at the front grille. You see this? They put all that tape on the front grille. They actually closed up part of the grille opening, and I think he may be running a little hot.
Clay Rogers going around the outside on Jay Fogelman. Fogelman had to go to the back of the field, drop down to the back of the field at the start of the race also because he had to work on the clutch, and he was requesting of the officials, hey, look, I'm not gaining anything by that. Don't make me go to the back. But the rules are if you work on your car, you go to the back. Jay Fogelman is now gone a lap down to Clay Rogers, who's making this look like his own personal racetrack up there on the high groove.
Well, you remember, Brian, earlier he told us he raced here last weekend. He was here with the late model division, and he's got this racetrack figured out.
A little bit of smoke out of Curtis Davis's car there. Looked like it was coming from the area of the left rear. Nope.
Exhaust pipe. That's definitely a motor. You can see it when he gets on the throttle, just picks it up. Watch right there. Bam, you can see smoke. He definitely is pouring out the exhaust pipe.
Tough break for Curtis Davis, who had a 9th place finish at Tri-County a couple of races back. He's been hovering around 20th in points all season, but it does not look like he's going to be able to continue much longer. Mike Herman Jr.'s problem has become what appears to be terminal. We're going to get a caution here now for Mike Herman Jr. stopping on the racetrack. Leader Clay Rogers comes around and under Herman's parked car, and the yellow flag is out.
You'll be able to see here, look at it on the replay. You see smoke coming out from underneath Mike Herman's car, and he's going to just pull up to the outside wall and stop.
So the today's fireplaces number 19 is not going to finish as well here tonight as it did last time out.
We'll be right back with more racing action.
Keep us turned on.
The Hooter girls greeting fans as they came to the racetrack here this evening, and this fella's really drawing a crowd of them. And they continue their hard work while one of the wreckers is out to push Mike Herman Jr. down into the infield. Let's go to Stephen Cox.
Curtis, we're starting to have way too many of these conversations, guy. What's the problem? I heard you and your crew talking about a piston.
Yeah, I believe we burned a piston, unfortunately. US Envirotech, Twister Carts, Davis Motorsports, Chevrolet.com was really running well tonight. I don't know that I can say this early in the race that we could have had a car that could have won the race, but I believe tonight we might would have wound up in the top 5 if we would have missed the wrecks.
You know, I saw your crew as you made a couple of passes out there, and these guys were jumping up on top of the wall and cheering. You got a good cheerleading section down here.
Oh, my guys are really good. They really was pumped up about how well we qualified, and I've been running real well here today at Concord Motorsports Park. And I believe, like I said, I believe we burned a piston. I didn't want to ruin the motor, so we just shut it off and quit for tonight. You know, it's just unfortunate for us.
We get ready to go back to the green flag. Curtis says his brother Kyle is still at the beach, and he's hoping that maybe Kyle sends him a picture. He's about forgot what he looks like. He's been there so long. Our Discount Auto Parts field summary: Clay Rogers, Neil Browder, Vickers, Goodson, and Plemons the top 5. A lot of rookies up there. John Wood and John Curley round out the top 10 as Rogers goes back to the green flag with Browder all over him. Browder, who finished 12th after qualifying 13th at Hickory, was on the lead lap in his only other appearance this year in the year 2000. And that number 178 Mark III Financial bright red car in second position right now.
And it looks like Brian Vickers is starting to close on the front 2 cars. They got to jump on the restart. And now it looks like Brian Vickers is starting to close it up a little.
Browder is from
looking
Concord and looking underneath now on Rogers, but Rogers has shown all year long that he's a pretty tough guy to pass. You can get up to him and you can challenge him, but once you start to make a move on him, he will fight you off like crazy. Well, and it's happened again.
You got to realize he's really hungry right now for this win, and he said it earlier tonight.
He certainly is. He has had 7 top 5 finishes, including a second at Hickory. Let's go back downstairs. Stephen Cox is now with Mike Herman Jr.
So, Michael, I saw you carrying your helmet and heading down pit row. I thought you were going to be able to go the distance tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a joke, really. I mean, on the beginning of the warm-up laps, we're waving to the crowd, you know, and somebody up front slams on brakes for no reason at all. It piles us all up. Then when it did that, it killed the radiator, killed the ductwork, and everything, and to be up front like that right there and then get took out over a wreck on the warm-up laps, you know, it's ridiculous.
Understandably disappointed at the turn of events. Mike Herman Jr. looking for a second good finish in a row, and this would have been the place to get it.
Yeah, he really had some good expectations for tonight's race. You know, coming off a second place from Hickory and going back to his home track, he felt he had a good shot of winning tonight.
Well, he's had 13 late model victories here at Concord Motorsports Park. Pole position 17 times in late model cars. His most popular driver here in 1997. And he has been twice track champion here, which you mentioned at the top of the show. But tonight, Mike Herman Jr. is going to be a spectator for the balance of the evening. Brian Vickers now has moved inside on Browder, and he's bringing Hal Goodson, the pole sitter, with him, who seems to have kind of gathered it back up after losing ground to the leader, Clay Rogers.
Well, I don't think Hal Goodson had anything to prove by running up front. He says, okay, I'm fast. I'm going to sit back, run comfortable, save my tires, and let's see what happens. You got to remember, 250 laps, long race. Only one set of tires sitting in the pits. You've got to use good tire management, especially here because you go so fast into the corners, especially into turn 3, that you really use up your right side tires getting into the corner. So if you can save them, this is the time to do it.
Well, we also heard mention of the fact that they had paved Concord.
Right.
Listen to this, and you know it. The top 30 qualifiers broke the track record.
I was going to tell. I didn't know how many, but I knew a lot of guys did.
So a place that used to be fast is now faster. Our Sunoco full field rundown now. You will see the drivers outside the top 10, which we saw earlier. Bobby Gill running in 11th spot. with Sean Studer and Lee Tissett. Andy Thurman is in 16th, coming up from the back.
From the back.
Yes, indeed.
Not a bad run so far.
Derek Kelly with a good run in that brand new body. John Kinder, Trent Owens, Jave Jones, also guys who started sort of near the back. Chad Mullis and Philip Cranifus, we mentioned their first appearances for the year. Stacy Puryear. Marty Lindley is making progress up from the next to last row to 27th. And some of the guys have gone out of the race, including Davis, Herman, and Mario, all of whom we've heard from here so far.
Speaking of Marty Lindley, I'm looking at that shot, and you look at just the front of the car, the green car with the PGT Industries hood. That's not Bobby Gill. You got to remember that's Marty Lindley and Bobby Gill's backup car.
And to elaborate a little bit, if I may, on the story of their bad luck, and it has a bit of a funny side to it, and that is that Elvin Rector, the crew chief for Marty Lindley, decided that a good luck charm is what they needed. So according to history, a certain Junior Johnson good luck charm was taped to the roll cage inside Marty Lindley's primary car, and 2 motors were blown at the racetrack. And I asked Elvin, I said, you may consider that what worked for Junior some years back may not work anymore. He said, it's coming out of there. So those of you that know the history of stock car racing, you may know what I'm talking about. In any case, the primary car for Bobby Gill doing pretty well here.
Now that is Bobby Gill with the green number 5. And now running 11th.
And a graphic that showed some of the drivers who had started reasonably well were slipping back.
Tight off the 4. Puts them all the way down on the apron. The track is definitely tightened up, that's for sure. Andy, with that gear, you look better on the top. I mean, I know sometimes you had to go to the bottom, but you looked a lot faster up on the top of them guys if you can get there. Yes, it's 4.
Hear that? His crew chief's telling him, you know, you're a little faster running a higher groove, and the way the car is set up, if you're tight, sometimes you need to just let the car run a higher groove. It'll help keep the car freed up.
But when he said you look faster, I wonder what the watch says. Here you can see that among the points contenders in the rookies right now, that's where they are currently on the racetrack. And we will show you these graphics throughout the evening. There you can see Clay Rogers, who is currently the leader of the race. Brian Vickers, who is the rookie points leader, is just behind him. And so that means that Rogers is not really gaining a whole lot of ground points-wise on Vickers, even though he's ahead of him on the racetrack. John Wood further back in the field is the guy kind of struggling right now. They're coming up on Jave Jones in the Jackaroo Sauces car. And our Discount Auto Parts field summary shows you where they started. So among the top 5, they've just shuffled around a little bit.
All they've done is move positions around.
But among the next 5, you can see that some pretty serious progress has been made, other than Nesbitt, who has slipped back from 7th to 9th.
Spin in 3, back it down, Track stuck, Andy, back it down.
This is a big mess.
Way high. Watch the outside.
And Andy Thurman following orders of his spotter, Ron Kreitzer, comes sneaking around the high side just in front of the 83 there of Keith Woody.
There's at least 7 cars involved in this wreck right now.
And Bobby Gill is one of them. Yep, and so is John Wood. That's going to hurt. The 111 car of Philip Cranifus backing down the track. Gill gets going. Here's another look at it, and it's hard to say where that started. Cranifus is the guy furthest up the racetrack, or furthest ahead, so he may be the first spinner. We're not sure why.
Yeah, I was watching it as they were coming off of the 3rd corner. It looked like, excuse me, Bill Plemons got into the left rear of Philip Cranifus, got him sideways, and when he spun around, he blocked the racetrack, and then everything broke loose. Look at Bobby Gill, tore the whole front nose off the car right now. He's going to come down pit road.
Something's dragging on the left side there, and the 68 car also of Jay Fogelman, the NX View Technologies Ford, pretty heavily damaged. Let's go downstairs. Stephen Cox is with the 5 crew. Stephen.
Your points leader and your 1999 defending Hooters Pro Cup champion came up on the rare short end of the stick. This doesn't happen to this guy that much. He's one of the most savvy drivers out here. And you got a guy that's been running 20 years on short tracks, and he knows what he's doing. But Bobby Gill's Ford took a real lick coming out of turn 4.
He's got some big problems because I saw water running out the front end of that car.
Even bigger problems potentially for John Wood, whose helmet is off, and he is climbing out of the race car. So we've got some pretty heavy damage to some very significant players. An assistant flagman here at Concord Motorsports Park.
Brian, I was watching qualifying today. This kid was good.
I think he's got a career in front of him. John Wood's car's going away. Let's go to Steven.
John, it has been a long year for you. Tell me what happened out there, and first of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. We had a great car. We went out early in qualifying, and that really hurt us. And then in the race, we were a little quicker than Clayton was, and I was just out riding basically. And I don't know, the lap car, I think it's at 111. Somehow he wrecked or something, and somebody ran in the back of me. It's one of those deals where everybody wrecks. And just unfortunately, my car was one that couldn't keep going. But it seems like we have these conversations every week.
You know, it looked like you had a race car that you could drive wherever you wanted. I saw you going high and low. It looked like it worked all over the track.
Yeah, the wreck was everywhere. There's nowhere to go. I mean, as soon as he got sideways, a couple more spun out, and there was just nowhere to go.
So John Wood and now Bobby Gill going behind the wall. The crew heading that way. Dews and the guys look like they've got some work to do on Bobby Gill's car. The hood comes up, and I guess they're hopeful that they'll be able to get him back out there.
I think they're going to replace the radiator because it's got a hole in it and he can't finish.
So Bill Clemens Jr. now coming to the attention of his crew. Dale Burns working on the left front there.
Look at this, Brian. Happy birthday, Opie. That's Brian Vickers. That's what they nicknamed him. He turned 17 this week. And the day after that, John Wood, his rat partner, turned 19.
Yeah, those two guys are trouble for sure. Let's go down to Stephen Cox now, who's overlooking work on the 5 car behind the wall.
Bobby has to finish in 15th place or better in this show and the next 2 shows down in Florida in order to come away with a championship worth an awful lot of money. And here's a guy that is working with one of the best crews down here. These guys were jumping all over it very, very quickly. They were putting together pieces, getting out parts, and getting a radiator ready to go, which is what they're doing right now. They're swapping out the radiator because they think this one has a leak before he even came in for his first pit stop. So these guys are on top of it, but you don't know if it's going to be enough to pull him back in the top 15 for the night. That's what he has to do.
You know, earlier, Brian, he mentioned that he wasn't points racing. Now he has to race for the points. Don't worry about tonight's race. You're definitely running for championship points right now.
High drama here at Concord Motorsports Park as the Lucas Oil Products Chevrolet of Stephen Christian comes in for some attention.
See the guy in the right. The guy in the right rear is adjusting tire pressure. They're not changing tires. Both guys on the right side are adjusting the pressure on the tires to help change the characteristic of the car.
Our next TV date, the next time you will visit us here on Speed Vision, will be from St. Augustine on Sunday, November 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We want to see you at the race and in your easy chairs at home watching us. Let's go back downstairs. A very busy Stephen Cox is now with the 44 crew that's pitting.
Well, John Curley is going to make an early pit stop. John is in on lap 68. He's going to take on right side tires and fuel. We didn't have an opportunity to talk with the crew chief because we were so busy trying to cover Bobby Gill and John Wood and the accident that just took place. But they're going to take on right side and left side tires and make a very early pit stop. Now, Bill, this is something you might want to comment on because you know how rough this racetrack has always been. We came out here last year and this thing was really like a washboard. It's a great racetrack with a tremendous amount of history, but it did need to be resurfaced. Well, they got the job done, and the benefit of this is the fact that it doesn't chew up race tires as bad as it used to. So apparently John thinks he can go the distance and still have tires at the end, Bill.
Well, you know, we've talked earlier this year about short pitting, and that's what John Curley just did. They must have felt there was something not quite with the car. Let's come in, let's make a chassis change, put on some tires, we'll go back out. They've got those tires they can reuse later on.
And our flagman is still on duty. United Speed Alliance Racing, the Hooters Pro Cup Series. The Jackaroo Sauces 250 presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst is round 18 of 20 for the 2000 season as we get set to go back to the green flag on lap number 78. Clay Rogers stands on the gas with Brian Vickers right behind him. And you can see everybody else kind of strung out in a long single file line there, double file for a while, and as they go through the oil dry, things get a little loose.
There was a car that was leaking oil, so they put oil dry all around the racetrack, and you can see everybody slipping and sliding. Whoa.
Things are going to be interesting for a few laps. Be careful, be patient, guys. That's kind of a mantra here at Concord Motorsports Park. Now Clay Rogers has really squirted away from the rest of the field, getting a couple of lapped cars in between him and the rest. You can see Stacy Puryear had a little bit of a problem in the speedy dry there, and now he's starting to slip back. Brian Vickers comes inside on him.
11's catching you at the bottom, getting into 3, but other than that, you're doing great, man. You're catching about 6 cars ahead of you.
Did you see that? Started 30-30. He's running 8th right now. Andy Thurman has definitely figured out this racetrack.
Arguably the best car on the track, although Clay Rogers is mighty good. Bobby Gill's guys have gotten him back out there, new radiator and all. Brian Vickers is looking awful fast here, and Hal Goodson, both of them seem to be doing a great job managing their equipment for the early laps of this race.
Man, I got to give credit to Bobby Gill's crew, man. They put a new radiator in this car, and what did he lose? Maybe 5 or 6 laps at the most? What a phenomenal job done in the pits with that.
Well, Dews and his guys are pretty good, and Bobby demands a lot of them. In fact, before the start of the race, Bobby said, Dews, grab a meter, let's check the alternator. So he grabs the thing and he puts it on the alternator. Bobby fires up the car, revs it. Dews gives him the thumbs up. And then I was poking Bobby a little bit. I said, was he supposed to hook that up to the radiator cap and the hood pin? Bobby says, oh, I don't know. No telling about Dews. He'll hook it up anywhere. I said, Bobby, I think he was just humoring you, man. That car's perfect. Those guys poke at each other all the time and demand a very high standard. Our Discount Auto Parts field summary, you can see Shane Huffman started 13th, is up to 6th in the Johnsonville Bratwurst car.
Keith Woody running 10th right now. Good run for him tonight.
New dad with Woody the Cowboy on the dash wearing a crash helmet. Keith's mom found a little crash helmet that fit Woody the Cowboy. Daniel Johnson started 23rd. He's now 7th.
Let's see, we ran a lot when I first started racing late models here, probably 10 years ago. When we got started here, it's actually just a true oval then, 4/10 of a mile, and I guess the early 90s they changed and put the dog leg in the back, and really hadn't run quite as many, not near as many laps with the new configuration, and heck, I'm still trying to get it figured out. So, but we were trying to get something figured out. It's a little rough through the dog leg. Talked to some of the other guys, and we're just trying to get a right shot combination. And man, the guys, we've been throwing everything at the car over here in practice, and they've been working their tails off. So, changing gears and stuff. So we're trying to get something that's going to work. Hopefully, we'll get qualified for this thing and be all right for the race.
Andy's going to have to take some gauges out and make more room for sponsor stickers on the dash. Look at this. He needs more dashboard.
You know, I'm just, whoa, Andy Thurman gets.
Whoa! Hang on, Andy. Hold your breath, and we're going to get a caution on the speedway here on lap number 89 by Andy Thurman. And just like that, we've got another big pile up. There should have been plenty of time for these guys to miss that, but instead, John Kinder, Lee Tissett, and a couple of Martin Nesbitt all get tangled up in there. Andy Thurman had moved up to 7th prior to the caution, and then got a little overeager on the gas or something. Not sure. Maybe he got into something on the track.
Yeah, it looked like he got touched in the left rear by Daniel Johnson. Let's see if we can see it on the replay.
Damage to Martin Nesbitt, and here it is.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, a little contact with Daniel Johnson making his first appearance here tonight in the 56 car, the Johnson Motorsports Chevrolet. Thurman parks on the racetrack, and here's where things got a little crazy. Whoa!
John Kinder sliding backwards. Lee Tissot. Buggy Pletcher gets through it. Steve Christian gets through it.
Trent Owens tags the back, and that's where the damage to Martin Nesbitt's car comes from, is that Trent Owens coming up late on the incident. There goes Kinder backing her up into the wall. Just misses it. Tissot. Nesbitt came out on the short end of that deal for sure because Trent Owens had nowhere to go up high. Another look from on board with Regan Smith. He takes the low road.
What a move. Didn't hit anything.
All right, I'm making a note of that.
Okay, that's it.
Smart move of the race so far, maybe. That one wasn't bad either, though. Andy Thurman doing a good job of giving everybody a little bit of room to get around him there. Just a few couldn't quite make it happen. Join us for round 19 at Florida Speed Park in St. Augustine. November 11th will be our next race as John Wood goes back out, and of course the Wood brothers do a great job too. So John Wood will rejoin the race, and things are just beginning to get interesting here at Concord.
Sauces 250.
Presented to you by Johnsonville Bratwurst here in Concord, North Carolina.
Thank you, girls. As David Buggy Pletcher, who is currently 9th in points, comes down on pit road. He's the subject of our driver feature this week.
Well, I knew I wanted to race all my life, and I didn't start until I was 20 years old because I went to high school and I was involved in other things besides racing. But I'd go to races every Saturday night and help my father. And I kind of wish I'd have started when I was younger, but it didn't work that way. And that's why I'm running this Hooters Pro Cup Series this year, a 30-year-old rookie.
But sometimes fate strikes at the oddest places. Just ask Pletcher.
I was at Sunshine Speedway winning races in the late model class, and I had a car wash that used to sponsor me called Mariners Car Wash in Florida. And he went through there getting his car washed and looked up and seen my picture and trophy, and he used to be involved with racing. He said, well, I'm gonna go watch this guy race.
Watched him race, and what happened is on a Tuesday he gave me a call, said that he and his car owner had a disagreement, wanted to know if I was ready to go racing. We bought a car on Wednesday, and we raced that following Saturday. He was leading the points, and he never missed a beat. Won the championship that year, and that's how I got started with him.
That championship has led them to the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series, where they've learned the keys to success.
Well, I learned one thing through everything. You know, you need to find one car builder, stick to that one car builder, one motor man, stick with that one motor man, come and test. I mean, testing's the key.
Really, to work together, keep communication, you know, that's the key to, you know, to having a good race is communicate, work together, get the car working good.
You know, you have to always be prepared. You got to show up to the track, be ready to race.
Being prepared is important, but as much as anything, Pletcher's love for racing keeps the 51 team running.
And he's aggressive, and he really has the desire to win, and he, you know, really knows, you know, how to make a car handle and adapt to a track.
I've never met anyone that's more determined than David. Plus sacrifice, I mean, the hours he puts in working on that car, you know, driving to the races, racing, driving home, I mean, it's his life.
I get a real adrenaline rush just racing with people, trying to outsmart them, you know, trying to make a move to drive by them. You know, I wish we could race all day instead of qualifying and practice and everything. I wish I could just throw the green flag as soon as we get here.
Ready to go, green flag racing here, and Buggy Pletcher, a quick story about him. We saw the sticker on his car in memory of Pops that his girlfriend Jennifer's dad had bought. Well, Jennifer's dad said that a guy that he knows hadn't seen him at the races for a while and thought the sticker was for him, that he had passed away. But no, that was not the case. Rumors of Jennifer's dad's demise are premature.
And I know
we're
how
happy to say.
I know how racing has been part of his family because I raced with his dad, Dave Pletcher.
Sunoco full field rundown here, and we have a lot of cars in there. Our apologies to Chad Mullis. Looking back through the records, he did in fact start at Lakeland earlier this year. Started 36th, finished 25th. So Chad Mullis making his second appearance for the season. Jabe Jones out of the race, as are Curtis Davis, Mike Herman Jr., and Mario Gosselin. For the rest, you've seen where they're running on the racetrack right now. We are looking at Regan Smith in the number 28 car. He has been climbing in the points. His best finish, or the high point of his season, 5th at Myrtle Beach. The low point, 1 lap in a borrowed car at Greenville Pickens.
You know, this guy's been pretty lucky tonight. He missed the first wreck before the race even started on a parade lap. And then that big wreck a few laps ago, he was able to sneak down on the inside wall. It may be just his night tonight.
Regan Smith from 38th to 14th in points for the season so far. Clay Rogers has been doing a terrific job in this race.
Derek Kelly in the pits right now.
Yep. Derek Kelly's guys, brand new body and all, hasn't made a guarantee that car is going to run exactly as it should. They run to the hood, now it's back down, and hopefully Derek will be able to get back out there. Hal Goodson, the pole sitter, or the outside front row sitter rather. Clay Rogers earned pole position here tonight. There's the somewhat damaged car of number 68, Jay Fogelman, making a reappearance here in the series that he has so much experience in. And Jeff Agnew battling with Shane Huffman for 5th spot. Let's go downstairs. Stephen Cox with Derek Kelly.
Well, Derek, it's an awful good looking car, but you've got problems with it tonight. What's the matter?
Yeah, you know, the Discount Auto Parts Monte Carlo was running awful good. We got We're going to run 10 races next year, at least 10 races. They're on board for the 6th seed. It's a great relationship. Tickled to death that we're the ones that they picked to represent them.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today, and he was pretty excited that Discount Auto Parts was going to come back on board for him for next year, and he's really looking forward to be able to run these Hooters Pro Cup races again.
Regan Smith in the Carolina Custom Golf Carts number 28 is involved in some pretty tight traffic right now. Up in front of him is Cranifus, and then Chad Mullis is right there in the 10 car.
And that Cranifus, you mentioned Philip Cranifus, that is the son of Michael Cranifus, the past owner of the Roger Penske Cranifus of Ford, which he sold his interest in his Wins Cup team a couple weeks ago.
Well, they're getting ready for pit stops here, measuring up the tires and making sure that things are ready. Here's a look at the handsome guys behind the wheel in the top 10. Clay Rogers is still your leader from the pole. Daniel Johnson rounds out the top 10. Back at Concord, North Carolina, and under the green flag, Clay Rogers continues to lead this race over Hal Goodson, who had led in the very early stages, and Brian Vickers, who has a couple of wins this year. Our Discount Auto Parts field summary shows those three. Then it's Neil Browder and Jeff Agnew. Shane Huffman in the Johnsonville Bratwurst car is currently running in 6th, and Daniel Johnson still rounds out the top 10. Now Clay Rogers becomes, for the 3rd time this season, the halfway leader. He took the lead back after Hal Goodson had jumped out front. And Clay Rogers, who is out in front right now, is our halfway leader.
You notice one graphic I saw up there that was really kind of strange. Lead changes. 1. That's right, 1.
And here at Concord Motorsports Park, you would have thought there would have been more than 3 cautions and more than 1 lead change. But not tonight, at least not so far. Hal Goodson now starting to challenge down on the inside, but he's going to find some traffic down there. And Clay Rogers has been making that high groove work awful well. Twice on the pole, 277 laps led before tonight, and for the 3rd time he's become the halfway leader. 4 times the top rookie finisher, but still without a victory. Clay Rogers, you mentioned, is awful hungry for a win and deserving of one, I would say, considering how well he's running here tonight.
Now right now they're coming up on some lap traffic. Now these guys that are running in the back of the pack right now, they do not want to give up their spot to this leader because this is such a hard racetrack to make up a lap on. They're going to fight for everything they've got to stay on that lead lap.
They're doing exactly that. Martin Nesbitt in the State Fair brand Corn Dogs car just in front of leader Clay Rogers. And Andy Thurman scampering along up there as well.
You got to realize both of these guys have spun earlier, but they had not gone a lap down, which was very fortunate. They were able to get their cars turned around and restarted before they went a lap down. So right now they're fighting to stay on the lead lap.
All the green flag laps have put a lot of cars a lap down, and there are very few, in fact, remaining on the lead lap. Regan Smith just losing a spot there to Sean Studer coming by. Studer in that Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink car had a real good run going last time, but a top 5 finish taken away from him for a post-race tech inspection failure. So Studer trying to get back into contention here tonight in that Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink car number 36, and after taking the position from Regan Smith is moving away from him pretty handily. Started 27th, running 7th, so he's definitely moving up.
Well, one thing I've noticed about Sean Studer's car is it's working on the second groove on the outside. Now granted, he came down a little bit. He's keeping the car up a little higher, and the car is working really good up there.
Starting to put things together here in the latter part of the season is Studer. 4 times he's finished on the lead lap. 3 top 5 finishes he was able to hang on to. And while Clay Rogers and Hal Goodson battle for the lead, let's take a look at our Lucas Oil Products halfway recap. For those of you just joining us or that are memory impaired, we started off this race with Hal Goodson getting a better start off the front row than pole sitter Clay Rogers, and he led early on, but Rogers began to show the dominance that he demonstrated in qualifying and recaptured the lead on lap number 20. Has led ever since. Clay Rogers out in front, running pretty clear, but there was big trouble deeper in the field, and that trouble delayed. We thought it was going to take Bobby Gill and John Wood out of the race because Wood was climbing out of his car, but both of them have since rejoined. Then at lap number 125, halfway through the race, Clay Rogers under green held on to become our Lucas Oil halfway leader, and that's our halfway recap.
And it's not too bad, Dave. It's a little bit loose now through the dog leg. I'm having a tendency, I think, to heat that right rear up coming up off one and through the dog leg with that rubber in there now. We need to drop the pan-iron bar a little bit. No.
Thurman talking with his crew chief, David Griffith. We've heard Ron Kreitzer, the spotter, cutting in every now and then.
Well, what he said was, you know, it seems to get a little looser now with the rubber in there. They put a spring rubber in the right rear. Well, then his crew chief said, well, let's drop the pan-iron bar, which will tighten the car up. And Andy said, no, let's not do that right now. Let's wait it out.
He said it's heating up the right rear tire. We know the left front tire on most of these cars isn't getting a whole lot of heat in it because we've seen a lot of them off the ground, especially in qualifying. Hal Goodson continuing to challenge Clay Rogers here, and Goodson, we again mentioned, we can only imagine if he had run the whole season with that Carlin Financial crew, where he might be in points contention.
That's the second time I've seen smoke come out of underneath of Hal Goodson coming off the corner. I can't tell if it's tire smoke or engine smoke, but he's definitely got some smoke coming off of the car.
He is nosed ahead of Clay Rogers, and scoring has him now as the leader, so our second lead change. Oh! And into the back of Cranifus goes the 68 of Jay Fogelman there. Cranifus, I don't know, might have slowed up a bit more than Fogelman expected, and in any case there was contact. Cranifus continues. Fogelman still facing the wrong way on the track.
No, that's Stacy Purrier. He spun, he got on the brakes and spun backwards.
Right,
yeah,
Purrier,
there he is.
there he goes. Stacy Purrier getting going again. Another look as Fogelman checks up. Little bit of contact.
Yeah, it just gets into the
a lot of contact.
Right, yeah, right there.
And here comes Purrier spinning off the back of Shane Huffman's. No, that's Marty Lindley's car. And so the safety crew is out on the racetrack. Marty Lindley's 01 car, and there is Fogelman's NX View Ford Taurus, heavily damaged on the left front. And the night could be over for Jay Fogelman here at Concord Motorsports Park. We'll be right back. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. And introducing a great new dressing from Naturally Fresh, Classic Caesar, a special Caesar taste from Naturally Fresh. We might call this a very attractive woman, but John Wood calls her mom.
Mom, you got that right. And boy, I got to tell you later on, did she tell me a really good story about John Wood and Brian Vickers?
Hopefully we'll get to it. Let's go downstairs now, though, to Stephen Cox. Pit stop, Stephen.
Well, Clay Rogers and Hal Goodson will both make their pit stops running 1 and 2. Your pole sitter for the night, Clay Rogers, will come in. And Clay radioed in just a few moments ago, and he said, look, guys, around lap 60 or 70, when they put that oil dry out on the racetrack, it loosened up the car. Now, before, Clay was worried about the car being too tight in the corners, but they're not going to make any adjustments after all. They thought they were going to, but that's not going to be the case. Now, right behind him, Hal Goodson has come in. These guys are going to make changes to the race car. They're really tight all the way around the racetrack. Hal not only had a small change on the track bar, but also a little bit of work going on with air pressures there. And look at the long time it took for Clay Rogers to get out of a very crowded pit row.
Clay Rogers guys had trouble on the right side when they were changing tires, but I did see the Hal Goodson guys put the adjustable wrench in the right rear to change the pan bar in the car. So, you know, he's working to make his car a little better.
Regan Smith inherits the lead. Just in front of him, Bobby Gill is still on the lead lap, or that's actually Marty Lindley. Boy, I get so confused. And we might call this a very attractive young woman, but John Wood calls her his sister. Welcome back to Concord Motorsports Park for the Jackaroo Sauces 250 under caution. The fans are getting ready for the second half of this race, and the Hooters girls are working the stands. We told you a little bit about the expansion of the series for 2001. we'd like to allow Mr. Gene Cox to tell you a little more about it this week.
Over the last 2 years, USAR has had a tremendous amount of interest from fans, drivers, and sponsors from areas outside our present geographical boundaries. This, along with the support of our series sponsors, has prompted us to move the series northward.
United Speed Alliance Racing is adding New York, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Illinois, and Ontario, Canada to the states already visited by the Hooters Pro Cup Series. Negotiations continue with facilities in addition to those listed here, ensuring that expansion continues with 2001 and well beyond.
2001 expansion will include 2 divisions, North and South. Drivers will be allowed to accrue points in only one division. They may, however, compete in either division for purse monies. At the completion of the divisional series schedule, the top 25 drivers in divisional point standings will then be allowed to compete in the 4 Champions Championship Series events. The Championship Series will feature the top 50 premier short track drivers in a 5-race battle to decide the national championship. The national champion will be the driver that earns the most points in this 5-race series, worth more than $1 million.
Bill, it's a little bit like in football. They have a regular season and a playoff season. There will be regular season division winners, and they will be invited to the playoffs where all the bonus money is paid out.
Right, and you know, that's at a total purse of $1 million. That's just for the Champions Challenge program that's going on. I think the total overall payout for the whole season is going to be over $3 million.
Our Sunoco Race Fuels full field rundown. You saw the top 10. We've seen a lot of that. Regan Smith is our leader. Steven Christian is running in 11th position, and that's significant because he is making up some points right now on Bobby Gill, and also making up some points right now on Bobby Gill would be Marty Lindley, who is doing pretty well in the race as well. So we're kind of watching that points battle, and among the rookies, we know that Brian Vickers and Clay Rogers are going to make up some ground on John Wood because he lost laps along with Bobby Gill in that big accident earlier on. So things are definitely changing here in the latter part of the season. With starting tonight, only 3 races to go. Nothing is by any means decided. And Andy Thurman has
running third right now.
Look at him going back up. He was up to 7th, dropped back a little bit, and now is up to 3rd. From the next to last row. So Andy Thurman, while he has struggled looking to regain winning form, seems to have found it here tonight and is definitely set up for a possible win. They go outside on John Curley. Curley and his crew, the Team Concept guys, had 2 good races in a row, and John himself said, I don't think we're going to have quite as good a night here tonight because we don't have as much experience around this place.
Right now, to battle for 4th, Bill Plemons Jr. We haven't talked much about him tonight, but he's been in the top 10 all night long. Qualified 4th, and right now he's definitely banging on the bumper of Brian Vickers.
His young protege, while Hal Goodson is coming down on the inside of him. That's 5th place that Goodson has just taken over, but Vickers has got 4th. For Bill Plemons Jr., 2 poles, once a halfway leader, 278 laps led, 5 top 5 finishes in 57 races, his best a 3rd place at Hickory.
Yeah, Dale Burns, his crew chief, I was talking to him earlier, and he was really excited. He said, we've got a good car tonight. I think we got a shot of winning.
And Brian Vickers in the 42 car there, the rookie points leader.
I thought Hal Goodson was going to try and make it 3 wide. Not at this racetrack. You know, there's some tracks you can try it. This is not one of them, Hal.
A lot of tight traffic action here at Concord Motorsports Park, our Discount Auto Parts Field Summer. You can see John Kinder. We have not talked a lot about him since he kind of backed up into the wall, but from 26th up to 2nd.
Right, good run for him.
And your pole sitter, your 2 front row guys back in 6th and 7th position, while Regan Smith continues to lead, and now Kinder is starting to creep into the picture in that 08 car.
And you can see Regan Smith's best finish was 5th at Myrtle Beach, and he's really hooked up tonight. You know, he young guy, likes this place, and he's got the car figured out. And Hal Goodson's car is still smoking, Brian.
Yep, well, we've seen a little of that, but apparently it's nothing too serious, or else the officials would have made some notes about it and perhaps begun some discussions, and we have not overheard anything of the sort. Clay Rogers, the pole sitter, in 7th position.
You got to remember now, Clay Rogers and Hal Goodson, you know, pitted later than a lot of other guys. So they have to work their way back through the field right now, and they're running nose to tail with each other right now.
Again, our Discount Auto Parts field summary: Bill Clements Jr. in 5th spot with Brian Vickers just in front of him. Keith Woody and Stephen Christian rounding out the top 10. And for Christian, this is a critical run in his bid for a championship. He could take advantage of Bobby Gill being down a half dozen laps or so with his problem, make up some serious points. We got another
Jason
caution.
Sarvis.
Jason Sarvis in the LyndonAmick.com Chevrolet up against the wall. So lap 162 brings out our caution, the 4th of the race. And the fans are settling into their seats again. United Speed Alliance Racing and the Hooters Pro Cup Series for the new millennium continues with the Jackaroo Sauces 250, presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst here at Concord Motorsports Park. The list of upcoming races is getting awful short now, only 2 left: Florida Speed Park and the final at Lakeland's USA International. All that remain on our schedule during the month of November here for the year 2000. So we're winding down towards a championship there, Bill Venturini.
And look who's leading the race, John Kinder in a multimedia graphics Chevrolet.
Well, that's going to be a big boost in the arm for Kinder and his guys, who have been struggling, fighting and digging to get up front all year long. And yes, my young friend, you have arrived. You are now the leader of a race in the Hooters Pro Cup Series, as Clay Rogers is up to 6th, Neil Browder 7th. And Sean Studer top 10, and Regan Smith came down pit road, is no longer the leader of the race, but still on the lead lap. So he didn't really give up a whole lot of positions as we watch Chad Mullis go inside on Kinder to get himself back on the lead lap. And Kinder drifting back a spot.
Well, you can see Andy Thurman slip a little right now, but he's working underneath John Kinder.
2nd position, and that is an amazing run up from the next to last row for Andy Thurman in the naturally fresh Mountain Springwater car.
Yeah, I'm just watching.
He's a little loose coming off the corner.
When you see the wall go from one part of the window to the other part, you know the car's getting sideways. Ooh, no, 3 wide, 3 right. Ah.
Kinder and Thurman battling for the lead here at Concord, and they have edged away from the rest of the field, led by Goodson, then Vickers. Brian Vickers in that number 42 car.
Well, Hal Goodson's just got around Vickers, and now if I was running up front, I'd be looking.
And Hal Goodson and Brian Vickers still battling for 3rd and 4th spot. Stephen Christian completing a very fine run here tonight, and a championship chance. We heard from him earlier.
Points-wise, not much. Not from a standpoint that we're not paying attention to it, but we've got to win a race. We've got to win these last 3 races. That's our goal. That's all we're here for. And you know, if we win those 3, we've done all we can do. Anything short of that, then we missed an opportunity.
You know, Brian, listening to Steve Christian and talking to him, and all this year, I never realized this guy's never won a Hooters Pro Cup race. His best finish so far has been 2nd.
And he jumped to the top 5 in points at our 2nd Lakeland race with a runner-up finish. And since then, he has been a contender and is all the way up to 2nd in points here. Stephen Christian, rookie title winner a year ago, trying to win a championship in 2000.
But he has been struggling on his qualifying efforts this year. Sometimes he's had to take a provisional, and other times he's been up front.
Yep.
But he can't keep it. He can't keep that consistency going for the whole season. He's had that inconsistency with the qualifying effort, which makes him start in the back. And a lot of times he gets put down a lap real early.
Well, before the start of this race, I was asking Marty Lindley, what are you doing back here? And of course, one race prior, I was back there with Stephen Christian asking him the same question. And, both of them tonight, Stephen Christian and Marty Lindley, both doing a pretty good job of coming up from the back of the field, making up for bad qualifying. But looking at Clay Rogers and Hal Goodson, it sure is easier when you start up front. Caution on the racetrack.
Martin Nesbitt.
And it's Martin Nesbitt who brings it out. He continues, but not before the yellow flag flies for the State Fair brand Corn Dogs number 30 entry of Martin Nesbitt.
And just before this, I noticed that Andy Thurman was definitely starting to slip backwards.
So, while Clay Rogers' crew looks on, we are under caution here for the 5th time at Concord. United Speed Alliance Racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series at Concord Motorsports Park for the Jackaroo Sauces 250 presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst. Fan reading the Hooters Sports News, he could find out in there that he can also visit the website at USARProCup.com and find out lots of great stuff, much of which is in the newspaper he's reading and some of it is not. Our restart on lap number 184 with John Kinder leading Hal Goodson now and Brian Vickers in third position. Clay Rogers up to fourth and Andy Thurman slid back a few spots. Neil Browder is sixth. Daniel Johnson still rounds out the top 10, and you can see the guys at the lower end of the top 10 there all started deep in the field along with Stephen Christian.
And that's Stacy Purrier who's made up a lap, and right now Hal Goodson's going underneath John Kinder for the lead.
And our new leader is Hal Goodson. Is that the third time he's led the race? I believe it is. He led early, he sort of took the lead for a brief bit, and now he's once again come to the front. Hal Goodson in the Carlin Financial number 45, beginning to edge away a little bit from Kinder.
You know, I'd almost say that was Bobby Gill driving that car, because that's what Bobby Gill does. He waits till we get this far into the race before he wants to take over the lead.
Looking at Brian Vickers there, 2 wins, a pole position. And our Discount Auto Parts field summary, Vickers in third.
Daniel Johnson running 10th right now, started 23rd.
Yep.
Sean Studer started 27th, running 9th. Good run for those two guys.
Good run for Studer in the Yoo-Hoo Chocolate Drink car, and for Vickers, who is trying to hang on to that rookie points lead. He is 3 times the top rookie finisher, twice a winner this season, and as we mentioned, the current rookie points leader, taking advantage of the misfortune of his good friend and partner in crime, John Wood.
Oh, okay, speaking
nudge,
of that.
Nudge.
Yeah, okay, speaking of that, real quick. All right, John Wood's mother tells me right after the Hickory race, 2:30 in the morning, Brian Vickers and John get on this little motorized skateboard. They go to John's grandmother's house 10 miles away at 2:30 in the morning. 2 guys on a motorized skateboard. They come back at 4:30, 2 hours, by the way. Ed Wood is up now because the parents are worried where these 2 kids are. He says he sees them come in the driveway. They look like the 2 guys from Dumb and Dumber. They've got black sweatshirts on.
Oh, John
Curley.
Curley taking it around. Might have been some contact. He avoids the wall and does a complete 360. Another nice save. And our young assistant flagman down there is waving the caution along with Rusty Cruz.
I couldn't tell if there was any contact right there. It just looked like John Curley just got a little sideways coming out right in the center of the corner.
John Curley in the Charlotte Wheel Race Scan Ford. We call the Team Concept 2000 car. From on board with Regan Smith, nothing but smoke. A little tag on the backside there of Daniel Johnson's car, but they continue. Hal Goodson woes them down a little bit here under caution, and up there in the spotter's pen, Ed Wood and Elaine Gill are comparing notes.
Stay tuned for more of the USAR Hooters Pro Cup racing action
here at the Concord Motorsports Park.
Hi, Melissa. You can see a little more of Melissa in the 2001 Hooters girls calendar, but right now she's keeping an eye on the girls working the stands here tonight as we get ready to go back to the green flag. Just over 50 laps to go, and Hal Goodson turns them green with John Kinder, Brian Vickers, Rogers, and Thurman rounding out the top 5. And again, we point out Kinder and Thurman, who have come up from the back of the field to join the leaders, as have Sean Studer and Daniel Johnson and Stephen Christian. Browder and Clemens started on row 2, and they're still in the top 10. Lee Tissett trying to get a lap back or keep from staying a lap down, we could say, in the 55 car. That's the Cars Plus Chevrolet number 55 that visited Victory Lane. And only his 3rd try for the Hooters Pro Cup season. Andy Thurman currently 5th, and we're on board with him.
Andy Thurman's having a good run tonight, you know, and I have to give part of that credit to his spotter. We heard him earlier tonight tell him that the car worked a little better up high, make the lane change. And I got to tell you, a lot of times that's how guys will win a race. You can't really tell if you're quick or not on a particular given line that you're running on the racetrack. And a lot of times that spotter helps you out with getting the fast line around the racetrack.
Regan Smith, 5 times finished on the lead lap this year with 4 top 10 finishes. Going for a good one here tonight. And another big pile-up. Caution on the racetrack after only 4 laps.
Have you noticed, Brian, every time there's a wreck coming off of turn 3, coming in this front straightaway, it involves at least 3 or 4 cars. This one's got 5 minimum because the racetrack is so tight right here as you come off the corner.
And, of course,
look at this. Philip Cranifus again involved in another wreck.
Cranifus is around Smith, and 56 of Daniel Johnson checking up behind him.
Jeff Agnew just squeaks by on that one.
From on board with Regan Smith, watch Daniel Johnson, boom, bang. So Regan Smith gets tagged in the back. And there's the 10 car sitting there of Chad Mullis.
Look at this.
And Marty Lindley. Oh, and he said he wanted to keep the fenders on that race car here, the borrowed car of Bobby Gill. Nice try, didn't work. That's the 2001 calendar that the Hooters girls are showing through the grandstand here tonight. And in that calendar is Melissa, who we saw a moment ago. Philip Cranifus bringing his car off pit road as Regan Smith goes on to pit road, and Stephen Cox is down there with the 28 guys.
Well, Regan Smith has been his Monte Carlo up just a little bit. He had a good night going as well. Remember, this is a guy who qualified in the top 10, had a really good show, and he's been looking for one. You know, he's not had the year that he wanted to have as a rookie. He had an opportunity to come out and run for the rookie title, and it's just not come together the way he expected. So the good runs have been few and far between for Regan this year. They're still looking for a major sponsor as well, and then they come out and tear things up on a night when they really had a very good race car. So it's not quite the story that Regan wanted to end his night with, but he's run very well so far this evening. He's run up front, at least in the top 15 for most of the night.
Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit more than a little damage to that car. It looks like all 4 corners were hit.
Well, and considering, along with Regan Smith, how many rookies have been running up front here tonight, I think we're seeing the rookies become veterans late in the season, and that's how it goes. Here is the remainder of our 4 Champions Challenge schedule, which is 1 race at USA International, where Marty Lindley, Bobby Gill, and Jeff Agnew have a shot at $25,000 in bonus money. Bobby Gill, of course, also going for a championship and the lion's share of the purse at the end of the season.
I have a feeling they're going to be paying that bonus out before this year's over.
It could very well happen. Hal Goodson is your current leader with John Kinder. Kinder, who is going to vastly improve on his best finish here tonight if he stays where he is. His best qualifying 10th, his best finished 9th, and that was in the first race of the year. Our Sunoco Race Fuels full field rundown shows Stacy Puryear running in 11th spot. He started in 8th. Daniel Johnson has slipped back to 13th after starting 23rd. We can see that Buggy Pletcher has come up to 20th from 32nd, and Trent Owens started 28th, is now 16th. And some of the fellows deeper in the field started back there. Charlie Ford started on the very last row, is up to 21st spot, so another good consistent run by Mr. Consistency number 2. If Stephen Christian owns the title, we said Charlie Ford would be runner-up. Jabe Jones, Curtis Davis, Mike Herman, and Mario Gosselin out very early in the race, of course, and Gosselin, he's got 2 races left to get a win here in 2000.
Yeah, the thing was getting loose into 1, a little bit into 3. Okay, keep an eye on the car on the right side tires for a flat tire or a tire that looks like it's going down, particularly the right rear.
Andy Thurman talking to crew chief David Griffith, who's telling Ron Kreitzer, the spotter,
to watch the right rear tire. He thinks it may be going flat. You're right.
You pick up an awful lot, and that's why you see so many fans wearing those scanner headsets in the grandstand. They love to listen to that kind of inside info.
It gives you such a different perspective of a race when you know what's going on. You see that graphic for the rookies?
Yep. John Wood, the guy definitely going to come out on the hurting end of tonight here, currently 25th. And was 3rd in rookie points coming into this race. Our Discount Auto Parts Field Summer, you can see the top 10 now includes Stacy Puryear and Stephen Christian, both, while Andy Thurman, who has been as high as 2nd, is now in 7th. And there is the battle for 7th. Christian Studer and Andy Thurman all going after it.
Sean Studer working the underside of Andy Thurman right now.
Puryear coming in hot, stays away, and Jeff Agnew had a front row seat for that one. Agnew in the 73 car, of course, collected his first win, and the confidence that he has had. They put a Billy Hess clip on that car, and he says, with the team I have, with the car I have now, I sure wish from the beginning of the season I would have had it. I could have won every race. He said, I felt like I could win every race with the setup I've got going now. The car, the team, and behind the wheel of this particular machine, Jeff Agnew. But he did get his first career win, and even guys that don't like Jeff Agnew, and there aren't many of them, I don't think, we're happy to see him win.
What a good run right now for John Kinder and DailyDrill.com Chevrolet right now. He is, originally from the West Coast. I think I'm so glad to see him finally get a good run going, because I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago where he didn't even make the show. He was all down in the dumps. And nice family. I've met his father, and I'm really glad to see him running in the top 5 right now.
Clay Rogers and Brian Vickers not only battling for position on the racetrack, but for a rookie title. Hal Goodson started second, is now your leader. Vickers 5th is up to 2nd. And again, we look at our Discount Auto Parts field summary with 30 laps to go. Bill Clemens Jr., a glimpse of him. We mentioned that he's still looking for his first career win and has gotten awful close a few times. Andy Thurman, Steven Christian. Good to see those guys back into contention here. Maybe not a win here tonight.
There's a lot of guys running in the top 10 right now that are looking for their first win.
Well, that 2-groove racetrack that some of the guys talked about before the start of the race is sure coming in now. As you can see, guys are driving as much as 3 and even
wide,
almost 4 wide around Concord Motorsports Park.
I think everyone's finally starting to get a little brave right now, and they're going to that outside line and finding out that Andy Thurman had been using it earlier tonight. Now they're finding out that they can run up there.
Well, as the laps wind down, the courage ratchets up, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because like you said, as the laps run down, the courage ratchets up. Good line, I like that.
It's showtime, that's why. Tranifus up on the high line, moves over to allow leader Hal Goodson to come by. And again, this team, the Carlin Financial crew, struggled early in the season. They had a different driver, Darrell Hayes, since Hal Goodson got in the driver's seat. And we're not saying that is the only reason, but that was a catalyst, obviously, for the Carlin Financial guys to really be a factor in this Hooters Pro Cup season, because as we mentioned, in only 9 races, he has done a very marvelous job.
7 top 10s.
Yep, 7 top 10 finishes. Shane Huffman. I was at Oglethorpe Speedway dirt track down in Savannah last night and picked up a program, and there's Shane Huffman's picture on the cover as the Blue Ridge Region National Late Models dirt track champion. I said, I know that guy, and here he is tonight. I was just down there watching dirt track racing at Oglethorpe last night. It was kind of fun, a little bit something different. They go in a lot softer on dirt than they do here on pavement. They can really stand it on its nose in the turns on the asphalt, but they've got to roll it in slow on dirt. Andy Thurman, saw him a moment ago. Now Steven Christian and Scott Sutherland, his crew chief, they've really put together a combination. Started to say a winning combination, but not yet. Per year is, of course, all taped up from before the race even started.
Right,
yeah.
that started.
Whoa!
Jeff Agnew gets in the back of Stacy Purrier and gets him a little sideways.
Agnew with some front end damage on his car too. That number 73 Twin City Motor Exchange Chevrolet. Doesn't look like he's good enough to win a second time in his career here tonight, but he's sure having a good consistent run. Hal Goodson missed the pole position by just a tick, and since then he has been, for the 3rd time now, the leader of this race and looking very dominant here tonight.
Yeah, by 0.04 of a second.
Yeah.
I'd call it a tick.
Not a lot of time separated. Oh, another caution coming out here with 20 laps to go. Stacy Purrier takes it around. The Black's tire number 92 facing the wrong way on the racetrack.
Come on, get it fired, get it fired, spin it around.
They ran out of white tape and had to use some blue on the back end there. You'll see it when he comes around. Not sure what caused it, but in any case.
Yeah, didn't look like he had any contact.
Stacy Purrier gets it pointed the right way again and comes up behind Marty Lindley while the Hooters girls are still hawking calendars. United Speed Alliance brings you the Hooters Pro Cup Series for the year 2000. And tonight it's the Jackaroo Sauces 250 presented by Johnsonville Bratwurst at Concord Motorsports Park. Take a look at the leaders without their helmets. Hal Goodson, Clay Rogers, Brian Vickers. There's the Warrior Bill Plemons and Daniel Johnson, a new face in the crowd, still hanging in there in the top 10. We're going to go back to the green flag on lap 235. 15 laps to finish this one here tonight. And a lot of action, most of it down in the turn, well, the last turn rather than the first turn. I came here tonight expecting to see all kinds of activity in turn 1, and instead it's been coming on to the straightaway as Clay Rogers is up behind Goodson right now, and of course on the restart he gets his best shot at another lead change.
I think out of the top 10 right now, we've only got 2 past winners this year running in the top 10.
Well, we have some very interesting statistics for the latter part of this season. We have had 8 different winners for the year 2000, and that ties a Hooters Pro Cup record. 6 are first-time career winners, 7 different winners in the last 8 races. Only Hal Goodson did it twice. That's parity. Now, should Hal Goodson win again here tonight?
He's a winner.
He has been a winner. That would not be another new winner, but anybody else?
Well, him and Brian Vickers are the 2 winners that were running in the top 10 right now.
Right. And there is John Kinder with Neil Browder, both of whom could be first-time winners here tonight. Browder is a Concord, North Carolina resident.
Yeah, this is his hometown, his home track. You know, right now I'm kind of pulling for John Kinder because he's from California. Here's a guy that says I've got to make this racing business my career. I'm going to get serious about it. We're looking for a shop, to move everything down here. I'd love to see him do it because then I know it'll help his future in this program.
And John Kinder could be a rookie in this series, but technically he's not eligible because, well, he made a lot of starts in the trucks when he was trying to run out west, and so he was technically not eligible to be a rookie, but he would be right in there in the thick of that great rookie class of the year 2000. Bill Plemons on the outside of Sean Studer now, 2 Groove Racing, but Studer jets off the corner and pulls ahead.
And has that Sean Studer team really come around in the last 4 or 5 races?
Sean and his brother keeping their heads up after some kind of down times early in the year. Steve Christian still doing a good job, and he is the guy that stands to gain the most in the point situation here for the championship. Vickers stands to gain, is doing a good job here tonight to maintain his rookie lead. But running on the racetrack right now, it is Stephen Christian who's making up some ground on Bobby Gill.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's only 2 races left for him to make up any ground. And with that point lead right now that Bobby Gill has, mathematically it's still possible, but Bobby Gill's going to have to probably drop out of the next 2 races, and Steve Christian's going to have to kind of win to close up that points gap.
Well, we heard Stephen Cox say that they had done some quick figuring and that Bobby had to finish top 15 in the remaining 3 races. Well, he's running well outside of 15th position right now. That's just going to mean he's going to have to finish maybe 12th or better in the last 2 races to clinch the championship.
Yeah, but that was only if Steve Christian won tonight,
yeah.
Which he's, you got to wait until the end of the race to see where it's going to be.
Lots of variables, but the bottom line is for Bobby Gill and his chance of repeating as champion, a big points lead coming into this race, and so few races left means that he's got a very good chance of being a second-time champion.
Sean Studer working on the underside of Neil Browder right now for position.
And Studer and Browder going door to door. A little smoke off of Studer's car.
Have you noticed a lot of cars have been smoking the center of the corner? We've only got 3 laps left.
Yep. And Hal Goodson looking good for another win here tonight out in front. Meanwhile, the positions behind him are still being decided as Sean Studer and Neil Browder and Bill Plemons Jr. looking for an opening. You can see that Studer is in 5th position. And as we continue with our Discount Auto Parts field summary, Neil Browder and Bill Plemons Jr. just behind him, literally. There's Hal Goodson, your leader, with the final lap underway. And no one even in the picture with Hal Goodson. It almost looks like a qualifying lap, and barring a major disaster or mistake, Hal Goodson will collect the win here tonight at Concord Motorsports Park. Little wiggle, but there's the checkered flag, and he's going to take it. With Clay Rogers pretty close behind, Kinder is going to cross the line ahead of Sean Studer and slow down. And the crew of the Carlin Financial number 45 is celebrating here tonight. So Hal Goodson being shown the winner of the Jackaroo Sauces 250, round 18 of the season, and he's going to do a celebration donut. Paint the track here with his signature.
Hey, look at when he did the donut, he hit a car coming by and tore the back end of the car off.
Oh, they got 2 weeks to fix it, and he doesn't care. Now he's going to head for victory lane, and the guys on his crew are out there to meet him. We'll be back in just a moment. There's Bobby Totten down there telling him to woe down. Well, it's all over, including some of the shouting, but Hal Goodson's going to climb out of the Carlin Financial number 45, and he's going to talk to Stephen Cox first, I think. No, first he's going to jump up and down on the roof a while and tear the car up some more. Okay, let's go downstairs now. Stephen Cox, let's hear from Hal.
Well, congratulations, Hal. That was a great run, but what surprised me more than anything, I think, was the fact that Clay didn't have anything for you.
Well, I thought he did. I didn't know. You know, earlier in the race, I was trying to get a halfway money, and he beat me about a half car length, you know, and missed halfway money, and he beat me for the pole, you know, so he was getting all the bonus money, so I had to get the big money there at the end.
Talk about the deal that you struck this year. I don't think I expected, and I'm sure you didn't expect, that you would find yourself here for what, the 3rd time this year in the winner's circle 3 months ago.
I mean, you know, 3 or 4 months ago, I didn't know if I ever sit in a race car again in my life, and you know, this opportunity came along. George Taylor Motorsports, it's a great crew. My family, my little boys here tonight. It's the 2nd race, and Daddy's won 2 of them, so yeah, he's gonna have to come more often, and yeah, great deal.
Well, this is fantastic, and you guys got to introduce yourselves real quick.
I'm Trudy. This is Cole.
Good. Hey.
Congratulations, guys. Back up top.
Even the son knows what to do with the water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. While the post-race festivities continue, we're going to hand out the Incentive Risk Management Smart Move of the race, and we decided pretty early it was going to be on lap 89 when Regan Smith ducked down low under Andy Thurman, who was spinning on the racetrack. Everybody else went high. We don't know what Regan's crew was telling him, but he went low. He went low and snuck through without even rubbing a fender. So he gets the Regan Smith Smart Move. Back downstairs.
You know, I came down here and started congratulating him. The first words out of his mouth were, Stephen, I don't think I'm supposed to win one of these. It has kind of slipped away from you, but you can't be that unhappy, Clay.
I mean, I'm happy with the run. You know, it's just, you know, if we can't beat these guys on our own home track, where are we going to beat them at? St. Augustine, Lakeland's a tough track. I mean, we'll give it our best shot. You know, Automotive Specialist motor was awesome, and if I could just get in the gas a little bit better up off of 2, I'd had to lift to get it to turn back down through the dog leg. She'd really eat over there from the dog leg to turn 3, but you know, that's how it goes. I just couldn't get that pedal to the floor. Man, it was killing me sitting there watching him pull away from me, but I got to thank Carolina Truck Repair and Fire Protection Services and Schaefer Oil Company and Deca Batteries and 2 Quick Shocks and who else? Heinz Performance, Charlotte Wheel, Corporate Image Graphics.
Well, you know, Clay, they say to win races, first of all, you have to put yourself in the top 5, and then you have to be patient and wait for your day to come. Now, by that formula, you're looking pretty good.
I think that's 9 top 5 finishes. I might be one off there, but hey, at least we didn't crash like the last 2 races, and we come away with all the fenders on it, not a scratch on it, and we'll have something for them at St. Augustine and Lakeland, hopefully.
You know, Stephen's right. You have to be in position to win a race before you can do it. He's had that many top 5s. I'm glad.
8 top 5 finishes for Clay Rogers. We'll be back with more. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Jackaroo Sauces. Jackaroo tastes so great, they named a steakhouse after us. By Naturally Fresh Dressings. It's not just our name, it's our promise. And by Miller Lite, the great taste of a true Pilsner beer. Here at Concord, North Carolina, the fans are trying to get down there onto the racetrack to help enjoy the celebration.
And you've got it right, Concord, North Carolina.
Yeah. It's not Concord. Not
right.
Concord, New Hampshire. But our official race results show a major change. Yes, the USAR officials are definitely keeping their watchful eye. And for failure to pass post-race tech inspection, Hal Goodson has been disqualified. And without really knowing it, Clay Rogers gets his first career win and does not get the opportunity to celebrate. So we look down through the remainder of the results. Marty Lindley coming up from the back of the field to finish 16th, and things are going to move around a little bit in the points because Bobby Gill finished in 23rd position, John Wood in 24th. So that has a bearing not only on the championship point standings, but on the rookie battle as well. The rest of the results, and there you can see Hal Goodson at the bottom of the list, listed as a disqualified entry here tonight. Our Miller Lite rookie of the race is Clay Rogers, who started first and finished first here tonight eventually. So he gets our Miller Lite rookie of the race in addition to his first career victory. And we're going to go back downstairs right now. Stephen Cox has another guest for the post-race show.
You know, he did it quietly. I mean, normally you're out there and you're bumping and grinding and trying to get all the way to the front. You seem not to be able to get all the way up front, though, tonight. Where were you losing?
It was track position. You know, the first half of the race, we had the car. I mean, by far. We got on old tires. I could drive easy. We could run 1690s, you know. And every time I get past Clayton to get my 5 points, you know, I really needed those. A caution would come out. But that's racing. We came in on a pit stop. You know, it was a mutual call. We changed 2 tires, got out early. A lot of times it worked, a lot of times it doesn't. It would have worked tonight, but it messed our stagger up on the right rear. And it pushed really, really bad there at the, right after we got going, after the pit stop. And I had to kind of kick it sideways a little bit and wear my right rear off to get it to where it was decently drivable. And then by the time the right rear grew, it didn't have any rubber on it. So we wasn't nearly as good at the end of the race. You know, we was running 1720s at the end. And if I just drove the heck out of the car at the end, I think we could have run with Clayton and Hal. They both had good cars, but we couldn't have passed them. And on that pit stop, we also missed a lot of our fuel, so I was worried about that. 5:10 to go, I knew we wasn't going to pass them. I just rolled out of the gas, you know, trying to just make sure we can finish that third because that helped us a lot in the points. And there ain't no sense in trying to push it.
Crew chief of the race is for Brian Vickers, car number 42. Congratulations to Steve Levitt, winning the W.J. Plemons Investments crew chief of the race.
You know, after listening to Brian Vickers in an interview talking about tire stagger and how to heat up the right rear tire and all of that, he's talking like a seasoned veteran.
You know, this is the one I've been waiting for. Every time I talk to this guy, something broke on the race car or he got run over somehow. Well, finally, we're talking at the end of the race, and you've got some great things to tell us about. Wonderful run tonight, John.
Yeah, Ronnie Griffin, my crew chief, he had that dailydrill.com car running real good. He made a call to pit early and get track position. He knew this was kind of going to be a track position race, so we were out there with a little bit older tires there at the end, but we were able to hold on.
But, you know, you were running with Browder. Browder qualified, I think, inside row 2. You had some fast guys right there, so it wasn't all track position. You were that quick tonight.
Yeah, the car kind of came around, and I don't know if our car came around or their cars went away, but it just feels good to have a good run. I mean, Daily Drill stuck with us through some hard times. We've had some real hard time, and hopefully we got them a little airplay today.
Well, congratulations. This is the one you were waiting for.
Appreciate it.
Co-winners of the State Fair Brand Corn Dogs Hard Charger Award are John Kinder, Sean Studer, and finally, you're going to see another name of Andy Thurman pop up. 3 guys who had great runs to the front.
I can't believe 3 guys improved their positions, 23 spots.
But Bobby Gill lost a little bit of ground. Well, I should say Stephen Christian made up a little bit of ground on Bobby Gill. Marty Lindley lost a little ground on Stephen Christian in terms of their battle for the top 3. Clay Rogers and John Wood about 100 points apart from Brian Vickers, so things are spreading out a little bit here. But to me, the thing that really jumps out are the way the rookies performed here tonight. 5 out of the top 8, 8 out of the top 15, 11 out of the top 20 were rookie finishers. They're becoming veterans. Next time we see you here on Speed Vision Sunday at 8 p.m. on November 19th. So long, girls. Join us online at speedvision.com when you can't watch us here on the air. And we hope that you enjoyed the show here tonight as much as we did. Our thanks to Racing Electronics for all the great radio calls here tonight. And, of course, to Mark McGinn and Onboard Images for the looks that we get from the race cars. But my special thanks to my broadcast partners, Stephen Cox down on pit road, and my old buddy up here in the broadcast booth. Couldn't do it without you, Bill Venturini. So for those guys and for all of us here at the Hooters Pro Cup Series, I'm Brian Drebber saying so long, everybody, and congratulations, young man. Clay Rogers, celebrate at home. We'll see you next time.